Well, let's start with United then. And Sue, ifs and buts, but if this had been a defeat, would we be discussing Erik ten Hag's dismissal this morning? Was it that close a call or not?
I'm not sure. There's obviously so much scrutiny after the Tottenham game, the way that they played, how disjointed they were, both on and off the ball, and then obviously going into Europe, going 2-0 up, probably not really at the very best, but 2-0 up, you're quite in control of a game and ending up drawing the game. So, yes, there would have been a lot more scrutiny if they'd have gone to Aston Villa and lost the game with a heavy defeat. I think that would have certainly ramped up the pressure, but you just feel the structure that Manchester United have put in place. I think we spoke about that they'd spoke to other managers in the summer. For whatever reason, they didn't go with another manager. They continued with Ten Hag. They backed him. They brought in other players. So I think after 6 or 7 games then to go, oh, actually, we're going to change our manager now. But if it was a heavy defeat, would that have then maybe forced their hands? So I think with it being a draw, it gives him, a couple of weeks in the international break. I know that players will be going away, but a couple of weeks to try and, I suppose, get things right and start to see progress, which I think is what all Manchester United fans want to see.
Yeah, it's about the progress, isn't it? I don't know. Seeing those pictures of Sir Alex there, I mean, it's a difficult one because you want to draw on the knowledge of people who know the club and are inside and have that kind of feeling for it. But also, it must be very difficult. I remember speaking to sort of people like Wilf McGuinness at United after Sir Matt Busby left. He was still at the club. And they're saying it made it harder because the thought of him sort of prowling the corridors was always there. Is it a help or not a help?
I think only the people in charge will know that. I think a lot of people make a lot of this and sort of feel like it puts extra pressure on the managers. I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson's that type of person. I think he'd be there to, if you wanted information or if you wanted help or advice in any way, I don't think he'd be judgmental about anyone. I think he can be judgmental in his own way, but I don't think he'd voice those opinions. I think he'd keep things to himself. If he wanted to, he could come out of retirement and go, well, I'll manage the club again. I'll take on the reins if you really want me to. But he's not going to. He's done his time. Now it's about enjoying the game, trying to watch, trying to support as much as he can. I don't think he's there to be a negative influence on the manager in charge. I think he's trying to be as supportive as possible. Now, whether, again, you go back to the media, you go back to a lot of people feel that it is a negative impact on the manager, I don't believe it is.
OK, let's put that one to because in contrast, we don't see Jurgen Klopp sitting in the stands with the Liverpool board at games, do we? Yeah.
No, that's true, and I think it's, I suppose it's whatever the managers want to do. So when they retire from being the manager of the club, they might just want to go and support. So whether it does bring added pressure, I don't know. I think as a manager, you've probably just got to focus on what you can do and what you can affect on the field. And I suppose that's what Ten Hag has to do.
Just going back to that point, though, do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would have an input into who becomes the next manager? Because I do. I think he'll look at that as the board. So I'd take that as a positive, as the manager, and go, well, Sir Alex chose me as part of that process. And it
happened with David Moyes, didn't it? And that didn't kind of...
No, but it doesn't matter whether it goes well or it doesn't go well. But what I mean is that he's obviously spoke about that manager and given a positive sort of profile of him and said, yeah, I think he's a good fit, I think he does this well, whatever. And going into the club then, you've got the support of an ex-manager who's been in there. The other side of it is I've got to be careful how I say this, but it's irrelevant what Sir Alex thinks of him because he's not making the decision as well on match day situations. It's his call. He's now the manager. You can't be sat there thinking, well, what would Sir Alex Ferguson do in this situation? You can't go through life thinking of that because you're a manager.
It's an interesting point because I lived in the Northwest in the late 80s into the early 90s, and actually up until that FA Cup win, the vitriol coming off the terraces at Old Trafford directed at Alex as he was then.
Yeah.
It was dark, it was bleak, it was really rather nasty. And then that cup victory came and it changed. But I wonder whether, Sir Alex Ferguson, the greatest manager, whether he could manage Manchester United now, because his management was all about having total control, wasn't it? And you just don't get that anymore. And whether that's hampering Erik ten Hag in some ways.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of bad recruitment gone on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't look at that squad and go, that's not Erik ten Hag's squad. I look at it and think a lot of those players shout out to me, Erik ten Hag's made these signings.
Yeah.
Now, if I was a board member yesterday or in the hierarchy, I would have been very frustrated, thinking we've spent £500 million on this squad, assembled by Erik ten Hag, yet only 3 or 4 of them are starting, and 7 of them are on the bench.
But
so I'd be looking at that thinking, well, what's your recruitment process? Why don't you back these players to be doing a better job on the pitch? I've got a certain style of football. He keeps on harping on about, I can't play this style of football. I don't have the right players, or I don't have the players able to do it. Well, you've just stuck 7 of them on the bench. And you've gone back to Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, who you wanted out the football club. And suddenly you get a result out of it. And now it's a completely different picture. So I'd be looking at it as a board member thinking, you've wasted a lot of money here and you've reverted back to the old players.
But when Sir Alex said, if you don't play how I want you to play, I'm going to sell you. It doesn't matter who you are. Jaap Stam, David Beckham, you know, all these players. I guess with Erik ten Hag, Cristiano Ronaldo was one of those.
Yeah.
But it was that total power that he had allowed him to manage the team in the way he wanted. And I wonder whether nowadays, modern football, you can do that now.
Well, it's difficult, isn't it, when you've obviously got other people that are making the decisions as well. But as Stephen said, I think a lot of the signings were Ten Hag signings when you look at the relationship that he's had with a lot of the players that he's brought in. But I think if I was Ten Hag, certainly I'd be having conversations with Sir Alex Ferguson. I know you have your own way of playing and your own style, but you'd certainly be talking to him about his experiences and what he's been through, like you said, when he went through the difficult period and then he came out to be the greatest manager ever. You can say, well, how did you deal with that? What sort of things did you do? And I know football has changed, and like you said, it's changed in terms of you can't have full control. But I still think those experiences and I'm sure guidance, I would certainly be having that conversation, whether he is or not, I don't know.
But going back to the process or the question about power at a club, how many clubs in the top league or in the Premier League now will managers have full control?
Klopp at Liverpool?
No.
Pep at Man City?
Possibly, to a certain degree. Klopp at Liverpool worked under Michael Edwards for a number of years.
How did that end?
Well, Michael Edwards left. Yeah, but Klopp ended up getting the power, and then what were his signings towards the end of his reign? Not really outstanding. So when you look at that, that is the way the game's evolved and moved. If you look at the actual signings made, I'd say Guardiola's probably got quite a lot of say-so in Manchester City's signings because he's earned that trust on the pitch. I'd say he's probably second with the most power in the transfer window of signings made, because the sporting director has only just come into the football club in the summer. However, they went down this path of, oh, we're going to sign certain players with a certain criteria. Well, he's bought Mazraoui, De Ligt, knows them both from Ajax. He's brought Zirkzee in, who's worked in the Dutch league, so he knows him as well. He's played against him. So you look at those signings straight away and go, who on the board or in the sporting director's role has gone, yeah, they're the signings I wanted. Do you want them, Erik? And he's gone, yeah, I'll take them. I think it's the other way round. I think it's completely the other way round.
He keeps saying, doesn't he, that they're all on the same page, they communicate all the time. So whether it's because they have just come in, so he's maybe took more of a control, whether that'll change as time goes on. I don't know, because we've sort of praised Manchester United in terms of the transfers and how smoother they've been in the past, where it's been quite difficult. They've gone for a target, it's gone all the way through the transfer window, and then they haven't got them, they've had to go and get somebody else. So I think we praise them in terms of that's been better, but we'll see as it
That's
gets
been
on.
better, as in getting players through the door, but the value of them,
maybe not.
Not great, and the profile of them, not great. Because, again, you go back to the signings, and I look at players, and I look at the two players there, Mazraoui and De Ligt, can't get in the buying team. And you're taking their rejects and going, oh, that's going to improve us. That's essentially what you're trying to do. Now, I know they're good players, but they're not getting in Bayern Munich's team. So why would you think we're going to take them into the English Premier League, where it's more physical, more demanding, and a club who is really struggling in Man United and need to improve, and we're going, oh, them two will improve us.
Yeah. Well, I think the worry yesterday, obviously he brought in De Ligt and Martinez, didn't he, for that's his style of play, that's what he wants to do. And last season when he was saying he had all the injuries to the back line, he couldn't play the way he wanted to play, and yet he's got the two centre-halves that he wants in there so that he can play that little bit higher, he can play the progressive football out from the back, and yet he reverts back to Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. That's probably a little bit of a concern maybe for Manchester United.
I am indeed, Mike. Good evening. This man needs no introduction. Wayne Rooney at this Legends of Football Awards here in central London. Wayne, many congratulations. I guess it's just the latest one for you to take in, and I guess feel a sense of pride about.
Yeah, of course. It's always nice when you get recognised for what you've done in your career. So yeah, a proud moment. It always is when you win any award, and as always, any award you win as an individual is down to a lot of work from your teammates as well and coaches. So I'm the one who picks it up, but really I represent all my teammates and coaches.
Whenever you think back of all the many moments that have led to awards like this over your Premier League career, what are the ones that really mean the most to you?
Winning titles.
We could be here all night.
Yeah, no, winning titles, obviously, you know, from my first one, I won the Carabao Cup now, but I think it was the League Cup, Carling Cup. It's been named different names. That was my first one I won as a professional footballer, so that was such a big moment. And then obviously Premier League titles, Champions League, FA Cup, all them titles you win is, you know, what you work for, and you put a lot of work in with your teammates to try and achieve, and they're the best moments, the best nights you have after that as well. So yeah, it's they're the moments you look back on with fond memories.
What about your favourite goal over that time?
Yeah, a few. I think everyone always says about the Man City goal, which was great, the occasion, obviously against Man City as well. But I really like, you know, there's transition goals we scored against Arsenal, which, you know, I really enjoyed. Stuff we worked on, and when you work on something that comes off, it feels a little bit better. Speaking
of goals, your team now, Plymouth, your manager, you maybe didn't have a touchline view of the dramatic winner at the weekend, but how great was that to see in terms of the progress of this Plymouth team? Yeah, I think it was what we deserved, and I was in the tunnel with our club secretary, and we were going crazy in the tunnel when we scored, and I actually knocked his glasses off and broke his glasses, so celebrating. But yeah, no, it was such a big moment for us going into the international break as well, and we've been on a good run of late, and obviously I got the red card, a bit of an overreaction, but I think it was clear it was a foul, and every official missed it. So yeah, sometimes as a manager, your emotions and, you know, you want to win kicks in. So yeah, took a red card, but I think what that showed, it galvanised the stadium, the players. We kept pushing till the end to get the winner, and Morgan Whittaker gets it in the 97th minute, so only what we deserved. Yeah, I think we saw that with the reaction at the end with you and the players when you did come back onto the pitch. I think I read somewhere that they want to see you fined though for your red card, the players. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I can start bringing more fans in for them if they want to see that. But no, listen, it's there's a great atmosphere, great chemistry and togetherness around the whole football club, not just the players, but, you know, all the staff at the football club, not just coaches, every member of the staff. It's a real close bond, and that goes right the way through to the owner at the top, and then the fans have been outstanding. You know, from the moment got in there, they've been really supportive, and I think they see what we're trying to do, how we want to play. They see, you know, the work we're putting in, the effort we're all putting in to try and achieve that, and I couldn't be happier with that. Look, you're Manchester United's all-time goal scorer, so of course you face a lot of questions, shall we say, on your former club. I wanted to touch on that just at the moment, the kind of 14th in the league, not the greatest of starts to the season. How much does it hurt to see them in that kind of position? Yeah, I think it's difficult, and of course I think anyone, you know, would admit that Manchester United want to be challenging, you know, for titles, and so to be 14th, you know, I'm sure everyone at the football club knows they need to improve on that. I'm sure, well, I know Erik is doing everything he can to try and improve that. Players, again, I said this last year, need to do better than what they're doing, and there's a big turnaround in players over the last few years, and you know, you just want to see them challenging again. So yeah, for the fans, I'm sure they're going through a difficult moment, and everyone, you know, has to say on the club, and we all, you know, I especially hope that they get through this period, because as managers, as players, as teams, you have them. This one has maybe lasted a little bit longer than you'd like, and hopefully they can turn that around.
As you well know, it feels like one extreme or the other, maybe never really an in-between with Manchester United. When things are going well, it's great. When things are not going well, it's the other side. And so Erik ten Hag, a lot of spotlight on him. Do you think he's still the right fit for the club?
Well, that's obviously down to the owners of the football club to look at that, I'm sure. And Erik ten Hag is a fantastic manager, and has won titles. I think everywhere he's been, he's won trophies at Manchester United as well. So yeah, he's going through a difficult period. I think he'd probably say that himself, but you hope he can turn it around, because I think too often managers lose their jobs, and then it's again another rebuild of different managers. So just hope he can get through this period and start moving Manchester United up the table.
Based on your own experience and obviously playing under the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, what advice would you give to any manager or player or any person at Manchester United Football Club in order to bring that success back?
Yeah, I don't think it's on me to actually give Erik ten Hag advice. He's a Manchester United manager and very experienced manager as well. But no, I think when you're going through a tough period, I think what the important thing is you knuckle down, you work hard, you try and do the basics right. That's for any player, that's the message you always get as a player. When you're going through a difficult period, try not to do too much, but the minimum you want is to work hard and try and fight your way through a difficult situation. And I'm sure the players know that, they're aware of that. I think they showed a good spirit to pick up points against Villa. But I think for the fans, they probably want to see a little bit more, and hopefully they can start doing it.
Wayne, thank you very much for your time tonight. Many congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening. Wayne Rooney, of course, involved in this Legends of Football tonight, being honoured for a wonderful Premier League career.
Manchester United Executive Committee meeting concludes as Erik ten Hag's future remains under scrutiny. The Manchester United Executive Committee convened in London on Tuesday amidst increasing pressure on manager Erik ten Hag. As questions swirl around his tenure, the Dutchman's future remains uncertain following the high-profile meeting. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford were spotted leaving Ratcliffe's Knightsbridge offices through a back entrance just before 5 p.m, captured on camera by Sky Sports News. The meeting had been scheduled for some time, part of Ratcliffe's commitment to holding regular monthly discussions about the state of play at Manchester United. Attendees included co-owner Joel Glazer, CEO Omar Barada, sporting director Dan Ashworth, technical director Jason Wilcox, board member Jean-Claude Blanc, COO Colette Roche, and CFO Roger Bell. Although framed as a routine executive meeting, discussions around football performance are always on the agenda, with ten Hag's position likely at the forefront given the team's poor form. United are experiencing their worst start in the Premier League era, sitting 14th after 7 matches, with only 5 goals scored. This season, they've won just 3 of 11 games in all competitions, and only 27 of 63 since the start of last season. While insiders are downplaying the notion that this was a crisis summit focused solely on ten Hag's future, any formal announcement is likely to follow if a significant decision is reached, such as parting ways with the manager. Ten Hag survived a post-season review in the summer, despite the Ineos leadership reportedly exploring alternative candidates, including Thomas Tuchel, who remains a figure of interest to United's football hierarchy. Adding to the weight of the situation, Ratcliffe, Brailsford, Barada, Wilcox, and Ashworth were all in attendance at Villa Park on Sunday to witness United's underwhelming 0-0 draw with Aston Villa, which followed a chaotic 3-3 Europa League tie against Porto. United extended ten Hag's contract by another year in July, securing his position until the end of the 2025-26 season, but with the mounting pressure, the club could be on the verge of a pivotal decision.